Man, is it good to have Moto back. This schedule is going to be grueling, though. The handicaps didn't go live until midnight Tuesday morning. It's currently 3 a.m., and I'm trying to cram this video together as quickly as possible. So forgive me if it's messier than usual. Back to the usual format, we will review SLC1 before previewing what we shall call SLC2. I have 5 rider stats you need to know before making your pick, some FFL stats, and your Wednesday night fantasy Supercross schedule. Hello, my name is Donnie, and welcome back to RotoX Fantasy. The break was not kind to players. We lost 1 in 5 championship players, and over 3,000 unpaid Daytona players failed to set their SLC1 lineup. I don't expect better numbers with a Wednesday night race. With Smith and Hampshire out for the season, that left only 14 racing all-stars, and they all made the main, but only 9 of them maxed out with those 26 points. Of the remaining 30 riders eligible for double, 22 of them managed to score those 26 points or more. A perfect score this weekend would have brought home 322 points, 352 if you nailed Shane O'Mac and Blake Baggett for the FFL. You didn't, by the way. In fact, only 4 people picked Blake Baggett. So, good for those 4 guys, I guess. The median championship score was 195, meaning if you scored 196 points or more, you did better than half the league, including myself. A lot of burners this week with a whopping 94% of picks bringing home 0 points. The worst offenders were 250 rider Darian Sinai and that yellow-blue 450 Adam Entignap. The no excuse list, riders with high pick trends that didn't even line up for a heat race, was led by Brock Tickle, who managed to injure himself just a few laps into the first practice. Man, JGR is really suffering. The only break they've been able to manage this season were Brock's hands. All-star RJ Hampshire and Jordan Smith also had meaningful pick trends despite being out for the entire rest of the season with pretty serious injuries. I only managed to muster 195 points this week, my 3rd time this season failing to score 200 and slipping outside the top 200 in the championship league for the first time for weeks. I was punished by the negative 3s, with AC and Nichols combining for a grand total of 6 points. I skipped both FFLs as per usual and cashed in on Jace Owens, Kyle Peters, and Zach Osborne for 38 points each. All right, let's blaze straight into the SLC2 preview, starting off with 5 riders I want you to know about for Wednesday's race. 3 of them I recommend, and 2 of them that I'm recommending you stay away from. Leading off with the 450s, let's talk about your all-star selection. My early team has Justin Barcia penciled in. Barcia was a little underwhelming at SLC1, but hoping it was just a setup issue. I know that his engine package is very mild, and they might have to turn that up a bit for the altitude problems. Barcia's 5 handicap gives him a bit of leeway the lower handicap guys lack, but he still has logged 8 top 5s in 11 races. He's a gritty rider that you can expect to stay on the track, and if shit hits the fan, that 5 handicap will definitely save you some points. One 450 rider I would maybe shy away from is the Chiz this week. Kyle Chisholm. Hey, Chiz gonna chiz. He's not a bad pick, but at a 6 handicap, he simply does not have much upside value anymore. With a season best of 14th, a 6+ handicap will only give him 30 points as a best case scenario. And there are likely not going to be 7 DNFs this round like there were last round, as the riders and teams are more prepared for the conditions, and a nice race should be kind to the riders. You likely won't be punished big for a Chiz pick, but I would look for a little bit more upside. Speaking of upside, your high handicap hero for SLC2 is Ryan Brees. The HEP Suzuki rider led the majority of the LCQ until dropping the anchor, which is 2 laps to go. Ryan admitted on Instagram that the altitude and heat got the better of him, and like we mentioned before, I expect every rider and team to be more prepared for round 2. Before SLC1, Ryan had made 8 straight mains, one of the most consistent high handicap riders out there, and an 11 handicap gives him both a high floor and a high ceiling. Moving on to the 250 class, your 250 All-Star pick should not be Garrett Marchbanks. Just like with the Chiz, he's not an awful pick, but his 2 handicap leaves little to no value. Look, Shane and Chase are on a completely different planet right now. Garrett looks like that clear number 3, but I would be shocked to see him battling with those 2 straight up. And a 2 means he has no wiggle room for an off night. Somehow, someway, despite qualifying 3rd, 74% of you laid off of Colt Nichols Sunday, and you will be rewarded handsomely with his 0 handicap this week. Colt at a 0 is a lock. I expect 50% pick trend here and will be disappointed with even just 1 ounce less. Colt landed on the podium 6 times in 2019 and was top 10 in all of his races last year besides that DNF in Seattle. I've never been more upset to be locked out of a rider than Nichols for SLC2. My Monday night, or I guess Tuesday morning it is now, team features Swole and Barsha as my all-stars. I have Jordan, Bailey, and John Short on the red machines, and AJE Gas Monkeys, Justin Starling rounding out my 250 squad. The 450s will feature Blake Baggett and his still ridiculously overpowered 3 handicap, Party Marty Davalos at a 2, and a high handicap hero, Ryan Brees, at an 11. This week, St. Quentin crushed it in the Roto X League, bringing home 284 points, led by Party Marty and his 46, and going 1 for 2 with the FFLs. Exo still has a firm grasp on first place in the season-long lead, holding a 41-point lead over second place. The only change to note at this time is that Jordan Smith lost his All-Star status to Jalik Swole, meaning the Rockstar Husky 250 rider will no longer be eligible for double points. Jordan, of course, is out for the season. Brock Tickle will also miss Wednesday's round with that broken hand, but no other injuries are known at this time. Be sure to check our Twitter and Instagram feeds for the latest on rider ins and outs. If you need to make up points, your 250 FFL could be the perfect chance. Shane has now pulled 3 of the first 7 FFLs, and with RJ out, he's the only one left with more than 1 in the field. The raw power of that star bike should give Shane and his teammate Colt Nichols a bit of an edge on the starts in this altitude. Nothing different in the 450s. Kenny is still the best choice, having twice as many FFLs as second place Zach Osborne. However, there are 7 different riders that have taken a 450 FFL this year, and that does not include Cooper Webb, who still is being shut out despite leading the field in FFLs last season. The schedule for this round is wild. Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, 8 p.m. local time. Qualifying begins at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, and the televised portion of qualifying begins an hour and a half later. Hopefully they won't cut the B class this time, with the heat race gates dropping at 10 Eastern and 7 Pacific. Be on the lookout for our fantasy cheat sheet, which should be live and posted an hour before gates drop. Please take a moment to like the video and leave a comment and let me know how you're finding the rapid fire schedule of the races. I, for one, love the extra racing, but feel like putting these videos out in time is going to be a real struggle as this continues. Don't forget to follow RotoX Fantasy on Twitter and Instagram for the latest news, update, commentary, and maybe just a few memes thrown in for good measure. As always, my name is Donnie. Thank you for watching RotoX Fantasy. May your chiz chiz on Wednesday, your Jerry's not always Jerry. Godspeed, happy picking. Take care, guys.